What is up, guys? It's the Blue Bloods back with the special episode, man. We have a full day today. This is a breaking news episode I wanted to get out. We also have our live stream tonight for our Big Ten preview as well. So if you're interested in that, subscribe and tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. But man, we got some huge SWAC news today that man, I had to get home ASAP. Go ahead and record this episode and get it up as soon as possible, man. We have a game-changing transfer headed to Florida A&M, man, and it comes in the form of Antoine Collier. He's a transfer from UCF. And in case you guys don't know who this kid is, he was a first team all AAC selection in 2019. So, I mean, this guy was one of the best players in the group of five. And I think even had NFL potential, before he had some run ins in 2020 in which he got arrested, got pulled over with some other teammates, and subsequently all of them were kicked off the team. And I hated that because I got to see this kid play as a freshman. It was my senior year at Auburn. We go into the Peach Bowl, man. We just came off a loss to Georgia in the SEC championship game. Beat Alabama, beat Georgia in the regular season, and UCF handed one to the Auburn Tigers. And Antoine Collier was the guy who had the game-clinching interception in the end zone against Jarrett Stidham to seal UCF's win over Auburn as a true freshman. And when you look at this kid's resume, man, it is impeccable. Over 150 total tackles over his, really 3.5 years. He only played 5 games in 2020 due to the whole issue with that. So he has a 1 year of eligibility left. So, but 3.5 years of experience from UCF, 6 total interceptions. In his last year, he had 4 interceptions and average taking those interceptions back 20 yards down the field, man. This kid is a baller. He's a hard hitter. And for me, this is huge because when you look at FAMU, we know Marquise Bell, arguably one of the best defensive backs in the FCS, maybe even in the country. A lot of people have him on the Senior Bowl watch list, and he's on the Buck Buchanan Award watch list, first team All American, and dominated the MEAC as well in 2019 when FAMU played in the MEAC and they took off 2020. So now we get to see what Marquise Bell and this kid get to do. But for Antoine Collier, this is a perfect fit. You get to stick in the state of Florida. You get a team where you're not going to have to carry the secondary. You get to stand beside and play with one of the best talents in the FCS, which is Marquise Bell on the other side. And, for FAMU, they had some question marks. So I was, reading some reports from camps and doing some research before I got on here to record. And, Marquise Bell's returning, and also Eric Smith at corner. Eric Smith was the leading one of the starters that were coming back at the cornerback position. And so there were 2 empty spots in that defense where FAMU really wasn't sure who was going to slide in there. And Javin Morgan has been having an outstanding camp, according to FAMU's D coordinator. He said he's had 4 or 5 picks already through fall camp, and he's just playing so instinctive. He's building off of the tone that Marquise Bell and the rest of these guys are setting on the back end of that defense. And now the only spot that was really a question mark is who's going to slide into Marquise Bell's right-hand man position and be the leader of that back end of the defense. And now, I mean, I wanted to record and put this on wax because I mean this, and the facts are there to back it up. There is not a better safety duo in the SWAC, and in my opinion, in the FCS ranks in general, better than what FAMU has on the back end of that defense. Now, you could argue total secondary, I understand that, but when you look strictly at the 2 safety spots for teams, maybe 3 if you run that star nickel position, but the 2 safety spots, nobody's touching FAMU right now. Marquise Bell was already voted arguably the best safety in the FCS and definitely the SWAC coming into this year. And then you also have Antoine coming in, Antoine Collier, and he's going to shore up the back end of that defense next to Marquise Bell. And the reason I say that no one can even touch him is, yes, there's a lot of, Jackson State has Shiloh coming in and all that, but no one is as proven on the field as Marquise Bell and Antoine Collier in the SWAC. And in my opinion, there's a lot of great safeties. You got Nicaro Harper at Jacksonville State. You've got Edmonds at Samford, and there's a lot of good safeties. I think Spencer Perry at Alabama A&M is going to be a monster, but I don't think there's a pair of players in the defensive backfield like Antoine Collier and Marquise Bell right now. When you look at them, what they've combined for over 200 tackles, 11 interceptions, over 20 pass breakups, and they have over 40 to 50 games of experience between the two of them. When you add it all together, the production on the field cannot be matched at any other school in the FCS or definitely the SWAC. You're talking about a game-changing transfer here that is immediately going to upgrade what FAMU has on the back end of that defense. And I know a lot of FAMU fans, I've been trying to catch up on my SWAC hours and do my history. A lot of people think that Marquise Bell being ejected in 2019 really cost them that Bethune game, and that they really didn't have anyone behind them. Well, this immediately adds depth. It immediately adds somebody that's going to free up Marquise Bell, because now you're really going to have to pick your poison in terms of that safety spot. And for me, I feel like safety is one of these positions that a lot of people underrate. And, I got some highlights for Antoine Collier too, for those of you who might not be familiar. I mean, this kid is a stud. I mean, just look at the ball skills there, just tracking the quarterback's eyes, was able to make the play on the ball. And you could just see him. He knows exactly where it's going, and he just breaks on it, and he got there. I mean, he was just that fast to get there, that good to get there. And then he's a factor in the run game too. I mean, look at that hit, man. Let me back this up. I mean, he came downhill, no stop, and ran straight through the running back. The running back had no chance. And then if you want some more balls, I mean, he can high point the ball, and this is a huge interception here on fourth down where he's just that physical in the air, has that good of body control, and then he fumbles there, but you can see he can make some moves in the open field when he gets there. But I don't think you understand how hard it is to be running, jump, and go through two guys, and he just clocks the wide receiver there and gets that ball. So when you add him with Marquise Bell on the back end of that defense, in my opinion, FAMU has the best safety duo in the FCS, and I will put that on wax. I think is that good. And what it does is also it makes it a very, very interesting division for the SWAC over there with Jackson State, Alabama A&M, FAMU. Alabama State's a big sleeper, and you still have Bethune that a lot of people really aren't talking about right now, who has given FAMU really tough games in the recent years. So that whole division is huge. But getting this safety, when you have a conference where you have Felix Harper who can throw and beat you, you have Skylar Perry who can win games, you have Akil Glass who's one of the best quarterbacks in the FCS, you have Shadur Sanders who's one of the highest rated quarterbacks to ever come into the SWAC. You have all these quarterbacks, and then I think Ryan Nettles you can throw in there too, as quarterbacks that you just can't sleep on, and that you're going to have a strong defensive backfield to really compete and win the SWAC this year. So that's where FAMU gets an immediate upgrade. I mean, this is an A+ and more for FAMU, in my opinion. And when you look at what's coming week one, guys, I mean, everyone on YouTube, all the fans are calling it, one of the biggest games of the year, if not the biggest game of the year, when FAMU and Jackson State, lock up in Miami week one. But think about how much bigger this gets and what it does for the storyline surrounding the game. So one, now you're talking about Shadur's biggest defensive test in terms of a defensive secondary might be week one, when he's a brand new starter, and he is going to probably have his toughest test in terms of a defensive backfield he has to go up against. So that's a huge storyline to watch, for one. And two, what about FAMU just absolutely making a statement? Because, I mean, listen, I think now I feel like, one, if Shadur doesn't play great, I feel like it gives them a week to kind of figure out what it is, because I promise you, I don't think he's going to see another safety duo in secondary that's as athletic and experienced and ready for him than what he's going to get week one. So for one, we're going to find out about Shadur. Two, I think it increases FAMU's odds of winning that game tenfold. Because the one question I had, well, the quarterback question is obvious one. I heard McKay is probably going to get the start. I've been doing my research on him. I like what I see, but until you throw him in that environment, which is going to be that first week against Jackson State in Miami Gardens, where it's going to be just absolutely wild. It's going to be one of the biggest environments of the season. Let's see how he responds there. But I like what McKay has. Then the other question was Marquise Bell going to get enough help on the back end? Now I know Eric Smith is there, and I know Javin Morgan is going to be coming in and playing a big role. But now I, as much talent as FAMU probably had on the roster, there's nobody with 38 games of experience who was second in the AAC in interceptions in 2019 and was a first team All American at the Group of Five level with the AAC. And when you look at Marquise Bell and you look at Antoine Collier, they're probably the only defensive backfield duo that has three All American awards given to him, because preseason All American award this year and 2019 postseason MEAC All American for Marquise Bell. Then you had that first team All American for Antoine Collier. This guy is a this guy has played since his freshman year at UCF, which shows how good he is. He's been on two teams at UCF that made undefeated runs. He went on that one that beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl, and then he was on that huge 30-something game win streak with UCF until they ran into LSU and Joe Burrow in the Fiesta Bowl in 2018. And then 2019 and 2020, he was on pretty good UCF teams. So I think he knows what it's like to be part of a winning locker room. He's going to be a leader of this FAMU defense. And for me, when you look at FAMU, they just became a whole. They became such a they became a bigger factor in the SWAC to me by adding Antoine Collier to that secondary, because it was one of the question marks I had. And what it's going to do is allow that D line to be a little bit more aggressive, the play calling to be a little bit more aggressive, because you have two of the best players in the defensive backfield manning manning your defense, and so he's going to be able to allow you to be a little bit more aggressive. And both of these guys have experienced blitzing. Both of these guys have shown they can be ball hawks, with both of them having a combined 9 interceptions just the last season they played in 2019. And so when you have that type of versatility, where we've already talked about on our SWAC preview, I'll link it in the bio here. Um, head coach for FAMU, Willie, said that he was going to put Marquise Bell at multiple positions. They're going to play him in that deep safety. They're going to bring him down to the box as a hybrid linebacker, and also bring him down as like an edge rusher at times when they really need a quick edge rush off the edge. And so I think what it's going to do is allow Marquise Bell to be utilized in all those ways, because you can slide Antoine Collier to either safety spot, and he can step down and play a little bit of slot corner if you need him to. So the versatility this allows FAMU to have in their defensive play calling and scheming, it cannot be talked about enough or have people excited enough. It's going to be a hellacious matchup in Miami when FAMU and Jackson State come, because I think Shadur Sanders might see the best secondary he's going to see all season week one against FAMU, which just even adds to the pressure of a true freshman quarterback in his first ever start, with the weight of the world on his shoulders. And three, if FAMU can put it together on the offensive side of the ball, which I think they can, then FAMU is going to be a real problem out there in the East, man. It is going to be brutal, and Alabama A&M and Jackson State are going to have to really compete here. And when your two biggest competitions are Akil Glass and Shadur Sanders, adding a player of Antoine Collier's pedigree is never a bad thing. And so this was a huge pickup for FAMU, and this was a huge pickup for the SWAC. And I am so pumped. I'm even just more pumped for the season, man. And so stay tuned right here on the Blue Bloods, man. As we're going to be covering the whole season, we're going to have SWAC previews, SWAC recaps every week, where we cover all the biggest games, recap them, man, do some film breakdowns, everything like that. And so just stay tuned here, man. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, turn on your post notifications, man. We would love to have you here with the Blue Bloods as we get to the season, man. It's only like 10 days away or something like that, man. It's so close that I can taste it. I linked our SWAC preview in the bio. So if you haven't checked that out, where we give our official predictions, make sure to click that below and go check it out, man. Leave your thoughts and feedback. But guys, the special episode today. That's why you got to turn on your post notifications, man. But we will see y'all later this week, man. We got so much content coming. Big Ten preview tonight. And also we got fall camp updates every day, every morning, 8 a.m. right here on the Blue Bloods, man, as we get into the season. But for myself and the Blue Bloods guys, we are out for now.